So for this problem, I will demonstrate how to use the rectangular approximation method. In the directions it says, for each problem, approximate the area under the curve over the given interval using 5 right endpoint rectangles. So this will be Rram. It says you may use the provided graph to sketch the curve and rectangles. So first thing I'm going to do is sketch the curve. And I'm going to start by plugging in my left endpoint -1 into the function to get the corresponding y value. So let's see, -1, that'll be when it's squared +1, so that'd be -1/2 plus -1 plus 5, which would be 4 plus -1/2, which would be 3.5. So -1 over to the left 1 up 3.5. So I'm going to continue doing that, plugging in my whole numbers from -1 to 4. Once I plug in all the whole numbers between -1 and 4, I get this curve. And so now that I have my curve, I will then draw in my rectangles. And they want a right rectangular approximation. So I'm going to connect on the right, and in order to sketch them, I'm going to start on the right hand side of my interval, which is 4. I'm going to go up to the curve, and that's where my rectangle will attach to the curve, and then over to the left and down. So my first rectangle is here. And then I'm going to continue that method, so right, so that would be at x equals 3, over, down, so that would be my next rectangle, and so forth, until I get all the way to the last rectangle, for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I just realized I shaded in below the x-axis, so I'm going to correct that right quick. Alright, and now I'm back. I corrected where I shaded below the x-axis because we're only approximating the area between the curve and the x-axis. So there should be 5 rectangles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there are. And I connected on the right hand side for each rectangle. So now what I do in order to get my approximation is I find the area of each rectangle and add all those areas together. Well, the area formula for a rectangle is base times height, and in this one all the bases are the same length. They're 1. So I'm just going to have my base pulled out front since I have the same base for each one, and then I'm going to add up all my heights because I would be doing 1 times the height of the first rectangle plus 1 times the height of the second one, and so forth. So there's no point to write all that out when in the end I'll just be adding them together anyway, so I can do it all at once. So my first rectangle has a height of 5. The second rectangle has a height of 5.5 and 5, that is 3.5, and the last one has a height of 1. Okay, so that's 5 plus 5.5 plus 5 plus 3.5 plus 1, all times 1. So doing that in my calculator, gives me 20. So the approximation of the area under the curve using right endpoint rectangles is 20.